Taurus, I need you to listen to me. There's a decision waiting for you this weekend that will determine whether you spend the next few years living with regret or celebrating the best choice you ever made. And I'm here to show you exactly what can go wrong if you choose the easy, safe path, the one everyone expects you to take. Do you know what the problem with Taurus is? You're paralyzed by the fear of making a mistake. You keep mulling it over, analyzing, creating 1,000 scenarios in your head until the opportunity slips through your fingers. And then you spend years regretting, what if I had made that decision? What if I had had the courage? What if I hadn't let fear get the better of me? Well, this weekend is different. The decision will come, you'll have to choose, and there won't be time for your typical Taurus paralysis. What will happen if you make the wrong decision? I'll tell you. You'll wake up on Monday with that bitter taste in your mouth that comes when you know you've betrayed your own soul. You'll feel that heaviness in your chest that arises when we choose false security over true adventure. And that heaviness will grow, day after day, week after week, until it becomes a constant shadow in your life, a memory whispering in your ear. You could have been brave, but you chose to be a coward. But the worst part isn't even the immediate regret. The worst part is what happens afterward. It's how that one wrong decision will create a domino effect that will tear down everything you could have built. It's how it will teach you that you can't trust yourself, that when things get tough, you always choose the path of least resistance. And once you learn this lesson about yourself, it becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. Can you see how a single wrong decision can define an entire personality of defeat? Taurus, I know you're afraid. Afraid of stepping out of your comfort zone. Afraid of losing what you already have. Afraid of taking a chance on something that might not work out. But let me ask you a question. What's the price of never taking a chance? What's the cost of always taking the safe option? How many incredible versions of yourself have you killed because you're afraid to take a risk? This weekend, when the decision comes, and it will come with a clarity that will be impossible to ignore, you'll have two paths before you. One will seem sensible, responsible, and mature. Everyone around you will approve. You'll be able to easily justify why it's the right choice. You'll sleep soundly the first night, proud of your prudence. The other path will seem crazy. It will require you to abandon guarantees. It will force you to trust yourself in ways you never have before. People will question your sanity. You'll spend the first night awake, wondering if you've made the biggest mistake of your life. But here's the difference. One of these paths leads to a life you'll tolerate. The other leads to a life you'll truly love. Let me show you a movie of your future if you make the wrong decision. 2 years from today, you'll be living exactly the same life you live today. Same problems, same frustrations, same limitations. You'll have aged, but not evolved. You'll have spent time, but not truly lived. And every day you'll remember that weekend where you could have changed everything, but chose to stay the same. 5 years later, you'll have grown accustomed to mediocrity. You'll have learned to silence that inner voice that still whispers about lost opportunities. You'll convince yourself that you were mature, responsible, and that you made the right choice. But on those quiet nights, when there are no distractions, you'll feel that emptiness that nothing can fill. The emptiness that arises when we know we're living below our potential. And 10 years later, you'll look at people who had the courage to take a chance on themselves and feel a physical ache in their envy. You'll see others living the dreams that were once yours, and you'll wonder how their lives became so extraordinary while yours remained so ordinary. The answer will be buried in the memory of that weekend when you had the chance to be brave, but chose to be cautious. For Taurus born between April 20th and April 30th, the universe will place before you a rare opportunity for leadership, and it will seem daunting. The fear of responsibility will try to whisper that it's safer to remain in the role of obeyer, where the risk is lower and the comfort is guaranteed. But here's the truth: if you give in to this fear, you will miss the chance to prove to yourself that you were born to guide, inspire, and transform. Life doesn't reward those who hide from their own greatness, and you, more than anyone, have within you the strength to lead. For those born between May 1st and 10th, the mistake that threatens your path is continuing to ignore a creative talent that deep down you know is unique. Maybe it's writing, painting, singing, creating something no one else can do quite like it. But for years, you've chosen the security of a job that pays the bills while suffocating your soul. The risk here isn't losing stability, but wasting the gift that God and destiny have placed in your hands. The world needs what only you can create, and if you don't start now, you may never discover how far you could go. And for Tauruses born between May 11th and 20th, the trap will be staying in a relationship that no longer serves your growth. Perhaps it's out of fear of loneliness, or because the routine has become a comfortable prison. But the truth is that holding on to something that's already ended only pushes away what could truly fill your heart. Letting go may hurt, but it may also be the only way to make room for true love, one that respects and celebrates who you truly are. In all cases, the wrong decision will have the same characteristic. It will be the choice that preserves the status quo, the choice that prevents change, the choice that keeps you stuck in the small, safe version of yourself. And the problem with these choices isn't just that they prevent you from growing. It's that they teach you that you don't deserve to grow. They create an identity of a person who settles for less than they desire because it's safer that way. Taurus, have you ever stopped to think about how many bad decisions you've made in life out of fear? How many times have you chosen the option that seemed most sensible at the time, but ended up taking you to places you didn't want to be? How many times has your need for security led you straight to the insecurity of a life that doesn't make sense to you? The truth is, you have a dangerous tendency to confuse stability with stagnation. You think keeping things as they are is being responsible, but often it's just fear disguised as prudence. And this fear has cost you far more than any risk could, because the greatest risk of all is spending your entire life never discovering what you're truly capable of. This weekend, when the decision looms, you'll feel your stomach in knots. You'll feel that familiar anxiety that always arises when real change approaches. And your first reaction will be to look for reasons not to change anything. You'll start listing all the risks, all the potential problems, all the things that could go wrong. This is your usual strategy. Haunt yourself until your courage fades. But this time it needs to be different. This time you need to understand that the biggest risk is not taking any risks, that the biggest threat to your safety is continuing in a life that doesn't challenge you to grow. That the greatest danger is wasting the unique talents you brought into this world because you're afraid to test them in reality. The decision you'll face isn't just about a specific choice. It's about what kind of person you want to be. It's about whether you want to be someone who lives in fear or someone who lives with purpose. It's about whether you want to be known as the person who always played it safe or as someone who had the courage to bet on their own greatness. And here's something you need to understand. People don't remember those who always made the right, safe choices. They remember those who had the courage to make big, risky choices. It's not prudence that defines a life, it's audacity. It's not caution that inspires others, it's courage. And you have that courage within you. You just need to let it speak louder than fear. Imagine waking up on Monday knowing you made a courageous decision, knowing you finally took a chance on yourself, knowing you chose growth instead of remaining stagnant. Even if it's scary, even if it's uncertain, you'll feel a completely different energy, a sense of finally living your life instead of just surviving. But if you make the wrong decision, if you once again choose false security over true adventure, you'll wake up Monday with that familiar weight. The weight of knowing you once again let fear decide for you. And that weight will grow with each passing day until it becomes so heavy that it'll be difficult to get out of bed in the morning. The question isn't whether you'll face difficulties. You'll face difficulties anyway. The question is whether you'll face the difficulties of trying to achieve something extraordinary or the difficulties of accepting a mediocre life. Whether you'll suffer the pains of growing or the pains of stagnation. Whether you'll tire yourself out fighting for your dreams or tire yourself out accepting the lack of them. Taurus, there's something you need to understand about bad decisions. They never seem wrong at the time. They always seem reasonable, sensible, mature. It's only later when you see where they led you that you realize the error. But by then, it's too late. The opportunity has passed, the window has closed, and you're left with the painful memory of what could have been. That's why this warning is so important, because I'm showing you the future before it happens. I'm allowing you to see the consequences before you suffer them. I'm giving you the chance to learn from mistakes you haven't made yet, so that when the decision comes, you know exactly what's at stake, not just what might work if you're brave, but what will go wrong if you're not. The hard truth is that you already know what the wrong decision will be. You can already sense which choice will be dictated by fear. You can already see which path will seem easier and safer, and you're probably already mentally preparing yourself to justify why this is the smart choice. But deep down, you know this will be you, once again betraying your own potential for fear of testing it. What makes me saddest isn't that you might make the wrong decision. It's that you've made so many wrong decisions in life that you don't even notice them anymore. You become so accustomed to choosing the path of least risk that you no longer remember the thrill of betting on something big. You've become so accepting of mediocrity that you've started calling it realism. But there's still time. There's still a chance to break this pattern, to finally choose courage over fear, to finally embrace the extraordinary version of yourself instead of accepting the ordinary. This weekend could be the turning point between the person you've been and the person you can become, between the life you've tolerated and the life you can love. When the decision looms and you feel that familiar dread rising in your chest, remember this moment. Remember how it felt to imagine a lifetime of regret. Remember the pain of knowing you let fear decide for you once again, and then choose differently. Choose courage. Choose growth. Choose the possibility of being surprised by your own greatness. Because the truth is, you don't know what you're capable of until you try. You don't know what kind of life you can create until you try. You don't know what impact you can have on the world until you allow yourself to shine. And if you keep choosing safety, you'll never find out. You'll die never knowing your own strength, never experiencing your own greatness, never knowing what kind of incredible story your life could have become. The wrong decision won't kill you, but it will kill a part of you, the part that dreams, the part that believes more is possible, the part that still hopes your life can be extraordinary. And when that part dies, all that's left is survival, just existing, just a long process of waiting for death to arrive, because you stopped living a long time ago. Taurus, I don't want that to happen to you. I don't want you to become another person who accepts crumbs when you could have the whole feast. I don't want you to become another example of potential wasted out of fear. You deserve more. You are capable of more. And it's time to prove it to yourself. This weekend, when that moment arrives, when you feel an important decision needs to be made, stop for a second, take a deep breath, and ask yourself, what would I do if I weren't afraid? This question will give you the right answer. It will show you which choice honors who you truly are. And then even with fear, even with uncertainty, have the courage to follow that answer. Because the regret of trying and failing lasts a few weeks, but the regret of never trying lasts a lifetime. And you've carried too many regrets for too long. It's time to start collecting stories of courage instead of cautionary tales, victories instead of what-ifs, achievements instead of conformity. The decision is coming. The weekend is coming. And you have a choice. To be another person who lets fear decide for them, or to be someone who finally decides to trust their own strength. To be another Taurus who chooses stagnation, or to be the Taurus who chooses transformation. to be another story of wasted potential, or to be a story of courage rewarded. If this message reached you, it's no coincidence. It's because you're at the exact moment where this choice needs to be made, where this decision needs to be faced, where this courage needs to be found. Share in the comments if you already feel this decision approaching, if you can already see where your life requires more courage and less fear. Subscribe to the channel because regardless of the decision you make, you'll need guidance to deal with the consequences. If you choose courage, you'll need support to navigate the changes that lie ahead. If you choose fear, you'll need help to deal with the regret that will follow. In either case, you don't have to go through this alone. Turn on notifications so you don't miss any guidance that could help you in the coming days, because this weekend's decision is important, but it's only the beginning. What you do afterward will determine whether it was truly transformative or just another lost moment in your personal history of wasted opportunities. The decision is coming. The moment of truth is coming. And I trust that when it arrives, you will finally choose to be brave. You will finally embrace the extraordinary version of yourself. You will finally stop living in fear and start living with purpose. Because you deserve a life worth living, and that life is waiting on the other side of your courage.